start with the uh, How to Love God message. And, then we'll get into the reading. Yeah, Jai
Avtar,
Baba.
Meher Baba ki Jai, Jai Baba. How to love God? To love God in the most practical way is to love our fellow beings. If we feel for others in the same way as we feel for our dear ones, we love God. 1. If instead of seeing faults in others, we look within ourselves, we are loving God. 2. If instead of robbing others to help ourselves, we rob ourselves to help others, we are loving God. 3. If we suffer in the suffering of others and feel happy in the happiness of others, we are loving God. 4. If instead of worrying over our own misfortunes, we think of ourselves more fortunate than many, many others, we are loving God. 5. If we endure our lot with patience and contentment, accepting it as His will, we are loving God. 6. If we understand and feel that the greatest act of devotion and worship to God is not to hurt or harm any of His beings, we are loving God. 7. To love God as He ought to be loved, we must live for God and die for God, knowing that the goal of all life is to love God and find Him as our own self. Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Uh,
a lot, Karthik, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, sure, sure. So you're telling me about Mehrabad.
Yeah, Mehrabad was good. We, spent some quality time. There was Murli and Manjusha from USA,
Sure.
and they were visiting Dilmeher, and I went with Dilmeher, and
Murli from DC.
yes, yes,
Kavalupudi. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've interacted with him on a couple of calls.
you interacted with Murli.
Kavalupudi, yes. Did he mention?
I don't have his full name, but yeah, but he's from DC, and they hold a lot of this Baba Sevas and meetings and all in DC.
Yes, yes, yes. I have attended a few of those.
Okay,
So he
lovely.
knows me. I mean, I know of him and he knows of me. I think
Uh,
we have spoken
I,
as well.
it didn't come in conversation, but I'll when I speak to him next, I'll mention this to him. I told him
Sure.
about MBA, and
Okay.
that's it. And
Very nice.
today we do this glimpses of the
Yeah.
God.
So yes, yes. So I was just going to open up we are in doing the session 10. And last week, I think I was not able to, I just merely started the call, but Sanjay ji and I think you were reading. So thank you for that.
I don't know. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
Baba's
So
work.
yeah. So that's basically the second.
I can
So
see
we
that.
have finished. Yeah, yeah. We have finished 12 sessions, and we ended at page 262, which is yeah 260 actually. So we start from what is mind, what is heart. Yeah, we are still in volume one. So maybe you can start reading first for some time, and then I'll take over.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent, excellent.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba.
Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai. What is mind? What is heart? The next morning, December 30, I saw Mohammed the Mast, half bent, engrossed in searching with vacant eyes for something on the ground. He looked pleased at Dada's arrival. Mohammed always referred to Baba as Dada. Baba fondled him, and a delightful expression lit his face. He had a standing inquiry for Baba. As he stammered to voice his wish, it was a struggle for him to push out the syllables that seemed to gag in his throat. The blocked words finally came out in the form of his usual request. When will you take me to Valence? Valence, France. In 1937, Mohammed had been taken to France, and ever since then, he had a fancy to revisit that country. On behalf of Baba, Balu replied, "We have placed an order for a charter ship. When it arrives on the Indian coast, we shall sail out on our voyage to France." I was told that this answer had been given many, many times, and every time Mohammed looked perfectly satisfied. In the evening, we sat around Baba. I do not recall how the subject was raised, but Baba put two questions to us all. What is mind? What is heart? It set us to thinking. Some tried to express what they felt on the spur of the moment. Dr. Deshmukh, Dr. Neelu, Dr. Ghani, Adi Senior, and others of the Mandali tried to answer each in his. You'll have to raise the. Yes, own way. Baba appreciated the replies, and at the end, he dictated the following on his alphabet board: feelings at rest and thoughts at work is mind. Thoughts at rest and feelings at work is heart. I'll just read it again if you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, feelings at rest and thoughts at work is mind. Thoughts at rest and feelings at work is heart. Uh, Baba did not wish to add any more words to this iconic remark. He looked at the gathering.
Laconic.
I sorry. Baba did not wish to add any more words to this iconic remark.
I think it's laconic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll read. I'll read again. Sorry. Baba did
Yeah, yeah.
not wish to add any more words to this laconic remark. Sorry. In I hope I got it right this time. Laconic. Yeah. What does it mean?
Using very, yeah, yeah. You see it? Can you see
I
it?
read it fully. You can read it, please. I can't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that.
So it's saying laconic in the dictionary means using very few words. His laconic reply suggested a lack of interest in the topic.
Okay.
Another thing is brief, concise, terse, succinct, short, economical. So that's what it means, laconic.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I'll just put the record right. I'll read it again and put it properly.
Sure.
Baba did not wish to add any more words to his laconic remark. He looked at the gathering, smiled, and put aside the board. It was a signal for no more discussion and that the subject was dismissed. This reminded me of an incident I read about it in the Meher Baba journal. One morning, Baba casually put a question to the Mandali: "Where is God?" And after getting the replies, he remarked, "God is where you are not. Where you are, God is not." So there's a cross reference 79. Uh, FH Dada Chanji, notes from my diary, Meher Baba Journal, September 1939, page 63. In informal meetings, Baba did not like to give long explanations. Perhaps he expected us to discover for ourselves the deeper significance of his statements, for personal findings have greater influence on our thinking and living. From Baba's remark, I gathered that the so-called difference between mind and heart was to classify the functions of self-consciousness, the impressioned life of every individual, the Ghazi that counts. On the last day of the year, there was a remarkable Qawwali program. A Qawwal named Narsingh from the state of Hyderabad gave a unique performance in the Darbar court of the godman Meher Baba. With a style that was his own and with meaningful refrains of ghazals, he entertained Baba with Urdu and Persian songs, a rare treat. The sweet, soft blends of ghazals, accompanied by the resonance of tabla and harmonium, filled the atmosphere with a melodious charm. Narsingh also sang some familiar favorite airs to keep the listeners who did not understand Urdu in the spirit of the occasion. For persons like me, such a program provided an opportunity to sit before the God man for hours. I felt happy, for I had power to feast my eyes upon to my heart's content. Baba sometimes looked here and there at the assembly of his lovers with those shining, powerful eyes, and all seemed held by them. Baba carried his tender humor with him everywhere, and programs were no exception. A witticism or pun would make us feel more intimate with with his humanity. That day, someone brought to Baba's notice that as Narsingh had commenced his journey to Mehrabad, he lost a few of his belongings. To this, the Kawal added, "The last thing I lost was my Kadi watch.
Ghadi.
The last thing I lost was my Ghadi." Okay, yes, watch. The word Ghadi in Hindi has a double meaning, a watch or a moment. Yeah, yeah. Baba made a pun on this word and remarked to Narsingh, "You have lost that Ghadi watch, but have but you have gained this Ghadi, this moment, the opportunity to entertain the God man. Not that Ghadi, but this Ghadi counts." That Ghadi was quite insignificant, but this Ghadi holds immense significance. Time will reveal it. Don't worry, but rejoice. Baba, however, arranged to pay Nursing an additional sum to replace the lost belongings over and above the remuneration which had been fixed for this program. By 11 p.m., all the programs of this get together were over and the buses were ready to take the visitors to the station or to the town. I purposely hesitated at getting into the bus, but as they moved out, I felt that I had failed to follow Baba's instructions to the letter. I didn't ask to stay at Mehrabad until December 31st. Now I would be there still on January 1st, 1948. In a way, I was disobeying Baba, so I could not sleep but only wept. Mentally, I asked Baba's forgiveness a number of times. It was fairly early the next morning when I saw Baba, his head covered with a scarf, coming toward the old ashram building. I approached him when he was about halfway. I looked at him in an appeal, but I could not speak. Baba patted me and led me to a room. Somehow managed to relate the details of my life. He gestured, "Now forget about it completely. I forgive you. but henceforth be careful in observing the instructions. As he conveyed this, I noticed an unusual flash of sternness in his eyes, along with the usual glow of compassion. In one's life with the Master, obedience matters most. This was a lesson I learned on that New Year's morning.
Hey, we go to the next chapter.
The,
Interesting. Obedience is the most important thing.
yes, even for a day, we cannot overstep whatever Baba says. And there is a religious significance in that, what Baba says, which is beyond our comprehension.
Mm.
At this juncture, I just want something I remembered and which I had done with you. So I got the chance to clean the samadhi.
Ah,
Uh,
very nice.
so I remembered you, and I forgot to mention it in our initial conversation. But
Okay, okay.
that was really a surreal experience, a very memorable thing. In a
Yes.
small way, I could do some small little thing
So
in Baba.
what all chances did you get?
I got chances to sweep, the side of
The
the
floor? Okay.
samadhi, and then the second time, I got a chance to put the chadar on that,
Very nice. Very
and
nice.
and
Jai Baba.
there were around 30 volunteers, all so we had to do it in turns.
Jai Baba. Very
Jai
good.
Baba. And Murli and Manusha were also there that morning.
Okay.
Uh, Jai Baba. Anyway, just a slight digression from the tripartite phase. Acha, threefold spiritual work, 1948. That's the main heading. The tripartite phase. Avatar Meher Baba adored the God intoxicated souls, the Mas. He loved immensely everyone who came into his contact. He was intensely devoted to the service of the poor. In the year 1948, we find a delightful blending of this tripartite phase of his work. The journeys to contact Mas extended from the Himalayas in the north to Madras in the south and from Calcutta in the east to the Girnar in the west. After washing and bowing down to the feet of the poor in Ahmednagar district, Baba distributed over 4,000 bundles of food grain to them. He once remarked about this method of contacting the poor. Nothing makes me happier than opportunity to bow down to God in all these forms. The formal opening of the Baba house at Merazad and the new ashram building at Mehrabad took place in 1948. After the middle of the year, there were small scale darshan programs at Mehrabad every month. Above all, this year marked the active participation in Baba's great spiritual work by his lovers in the East and West. The participation lasted for around 2 months, twice for about 2 weeks each time, and we do not find anything like this in succeeding years. Significantly, the beginning of the year 1948
There is a
marked,
subtitle. There's a
oh, sorry,
subtitle. So
sorry,
the Sufi school. Yeah.
the Sufi school in America. Yes, I missed it. I thought it's the heading of
Page
the
header. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
the Sufi school in America. Significantly, the beginning of the year 1948 marked a short visit to Mehrazad by Mrs. Ivy Deuce and her daughter Charmian. They had left America toward the end of 1947 with the specific intention of meeting Meher Baba in India. From childhood, Mrs. Deuce had had a religious mind which was sorely tried as she worked with the Red Cross in France during World War One. Later, she met Ada Martin, the Murshida of the Sufi order in America. The, the Sufi message was delivered to the West in 1910 by the great mystic and musician Hazrat Inayat Khan of Baroda. He later appointed Ada Martin of San Francisco, whom he lovingly renamed Rabia as Murshida. Hazrat Inayat Khan passed away in 1927, so Rabia Martin, who believed in the spiritual hierarchy, was in search of a kutub or perfect master. She heard of Meher Baba in 1943 through Norina Machebeli. Dr. Abdul Ghani Munsif, one of Baba's intimate disciples, corresponded with her about Sufism in general and Meher Baba, the perfect Sufi. In particular, Murshida Martin felt so convinced of Meher Baba's divinity that she expressed her readiness to place her Sufi school under his guidance. She expected Baba to visit the United States in 1947, but Baba changed the plan and postponed the visit. The Sufi order under Meher Baba's wing. Dr. Alan Y. Cohen writes, Murshida Martin carried out her dedicated work until 1947 when she dropped her body after appointing Ivo Deuce as her successor. Murshida Deuce was quite aware of the spiritual hierarchy and the necessity of an illumined, illumined or a perfect leader of the order. Pardon my wrong pronunciation. Not experiencing illumination or perfection, she naturally turned to find the kutub. Of course, before her death, Murshida Martin told Murshida Deuce about Meher Baba. Murshida Deuce was determined to meet him. Murshida Deuce first met Meher Baba at Mirzad in the first week of January 1948. Immediately struck with the conviction that Baba was a Qutub, she posed to him the problem of her leading the Sufi order in the West, which she was reluctant to do. At that time, Baba told her that this was her destiny, that he confirmed her title and said that he wanted her to continue the Sufi work, that as long as she remained honest, he would do her work for her and that he would protect her students from her making any mistake with them and that he would protect her from taking any, sorry, um, protect her from taking any one of their karma. The next day, Baba told Murshid Yus, you have to go to home and re-establish this work all over again. And I want it on a safe, sound, and stable basis so that it will last 600 to 700 years until Baba comes again. There is a cost of is 80. It's Alan Y. Cohen, PhD, Meher Baba and the Sufism Reunited Incorporated. Sufism, San Francisco. Sufism Reunited Incorporated 1971, page 28. We have Mahu. In between, Kama came and went.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Reorientation of Sufism. A few years later, Meher Baba reoriented Sufism. With reference to this reorientation, I will quote the following statement which Baba made in America at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. On June 17, 1952, he dictated on his alphabet board. Meher Baba is equally connected with Islam and its Sufism, Christianity and its mysticism, the Orient and its Vedantism, broad Buddhism, practical Zoroastrianism, Jainism, and many other such isms which all speak the same divine truth and lead to the same divine goal. Baba is also detached and above all these divine paths. He has to awaken the followers of these paths to the real meaning of these isms in their true spirit by reorienting these isms, and in this capacity he has reoriented Sufism in the charter to be universally adopted. I take a break for any comments because this is one of the great teachings that Baba has given, that we have to go above the paths. The path is just uh, you know a roadmap to reach high levels. Any comments? Any?
I think we should continue
Yes.
because this Sufism reoriented sometimes are misunderstood. So we're learning about it. I'm really appreciate it. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, fine. Great.
This, I mean, yeah, they are misunderstood, or rather, they are. I would say that Baba did a lot of work through them, and after Baba, we do not know. We are they are supposed to be following the charter that's written out for them by Baba, and yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
always
that's
interested to know more. Yeah.
yeah, that's the controversial part about it because their charter is available, and there are some part of it that Baba has talked about it, and some people seems to think that Sufism reoriented today hasn't gone by that. You see, Sufism reoriented when it was, uh, when Murshid Odus were uh, Moshe there and their teacher, it was different because she exactly did what Baba wanted her to do. Even the last years of her life when Baba no longer was in the body. But anyway, so it's good for us to be informed, I would say. But it's not my business to see whether they're doing this or not because I have my things to worry about.
Absolutely. I think that's all we need to be worried about.
Yes,
I go ahead, Ashok.
yes. The details of reorientation of Murshida Deuce's Sufi order contain instructions regarding the principles, practices, and corporate organization of the order. In November 1952, Meher Baba sent his document from India called Chartered Guidance from Meher Baba for the reorientation of Sufism as the highway to the ultimate universalized. Sufism reoriented has verily rendered great service to the cause of disseminating Meher Baba's message of love and truth to the English speaking people by publishing his books such as God Speaks, Beams, Discourses, and Life at its Best. Thus, thus, in the first fortnight of January 1948, the seed of reorientation was sown by Meher Baba. During his short stay at Mehrazad, during this short stay at Mehrazad, Murshida Jus had the conviction that she had met the perfect Sufi, God in human form, Meher Baba. She and Charmian left Ahmednagar in the morning of on January 12th in Adi's car, driving to Pune to catch a train for Bombay, and from there she returned to the west. For all, Meher Baba is indeed one in all and all in one. Dr.
All
A.
in all, one in
Sorry,
all, and all in all.
I'll read again. Sorry. Uh, for all, Meher Baba is indeed one in all and all in all. Dr. A. Ghani Munshif wrote, Meher Baba, on all counts, is the spiritual index of the time. And if I looked at dispassionately is assured the common denominator who can be approached and claimed by all without loss of prestige, cultural or religious. How true. A circular containing 5 orders. On January 21st, 1948, a special circular was issued wherein 5 orders were stipulated by Baba. All his followers were given a choice of observing any one or more or all of the orders for a period of 25 days, provided he or she could do so without jeopardizing household responsibilities, job, or business affairs. Baba was very practical, yeah, and yet very particular in asking his dear ones to follow the instructions. It had been the experience of many people that a sincere desire and a suppliant heart made things favorable, whether at home or in the office. Observance of the orders was to commence February 1st, 1948. They were 1. To take one meal a day and tea or coffee only twice. 2. To observe silence. 3. To feed every day one poor person with one's own hands, a different person each day. 4. To abstain absolutely from any sexual relations whatsoever. 5. To meditate 1 hour each day.
So I'll pause you here. So if Baba asks us to follow any of these today, which are the ones that you will immediately agree? Which are the ones you will consider, or will you do all of them?
I think
I'm sorry, repeat your question again.
So if Baba asks us today the same
Hmm.
thing, right? So he says, pick one or pick many or pick all of these and do it for 25 days. What does your mind say that you can confidently do for 25 days out of these?
uh,
I can do all of them.
I think the third one is very tough. The third one and the fifth one for me personally is tougher than the rest.
Which one?
But the third and the fifth, third one is because finding
To
a poor
feed.
person,
Yeah.
yeah, to find a poor person to feed with one's own hand is easier said than done. We all live in context which makes it very
Uh,
difficult to find somebody every day for 25 days. It
and
it will.
yeah, yes and no. For example, in
Mhm.
Los Angeles that I live, there are a lot of poor and homeless people, and the number of them they live in the tent by the street
On
in
the
several
street, I
areas.
know. Yeah, it's horrible. I've seen it,
Yeah,
and
I mean, if we commit, if we make a commitment to Meher Baba to obey his instruction, my faith tells me that he will also help me in every step
finding
of
it.
the way.
Yes,
My
absolutely.
only challenge will be to observe silence for 25 days since I'm living with my family.
Mm, mm.
Other than that, the rest, is very easy for me. I mean, not very, but the rest is doable for
Relatively.
me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Karthik and the forum, I have one question. To observe silence means 24-hour silence, or is
Yes,
just,
for 25 days.
oh my
So
God.
complete silence for
25 days,
25
no,
days.
no, yeah, no words for 25. That's the
Not
most
easy. Yeah.
challenging. I don't know if I can do that.
No, I tried even doing 24 hours doing that, you know, I think July 10th. But keeping silent for 25 days is a challenge for me because I have to teach. And other than that, also two and then also three, to find one different person each day. And, you know, so two and three are basically,
Fair
uh,
enough.
But I tell you,
I was just, yeah.
no, no. But I tell you, I was just thinking about it. If Meher Baba in his physical form were here now, and we go to
Yeah.
see him in India, and he gives us a group of people, these five instruction, I would just say yes without thinking.
Excellent. So too.
See, because right now we're so modernized, we live in a modern society, we do this, we do that. So some of them could be a challenge. Whereas when Baba was here and people were in India, it was not hard at all. Yeah.
yes,
Agreed. Agreed. Agreed.
agreed. Karthik, this calls for this five sections to be highlighted, if you may.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. You can do that. Okay, let's continue.
Okay. Uh,
So, by the way, I don't, I already highlighted it, but Baba has given different instructions to his lovers, different instructions to people, to the Mandali, and he has done this at different times, and they were all variations of instructions like this, but it's obviously he was somehow using this as part of his universal work as well. So anyway, that's what my
yeah,
thoughts.
yeah. I mean, it's we can use that different strokes for different folks. The oft uh, famous lines which Kama has done. So I mean, Baba would have given different instructions. Of course, he would have reasons for it, but it's something which is um, more specific to that individual. I think that could be one of the reasons why he has given different instructions to different people.
Kartik, can you please roll it up a bit?
Yeah,
Uh-huh. I was just thinking, maybe we can take one or two of it. We don't have to, and at least try. We don't have to do all five. Um, I think definitely it's very easy for me to take one meal a day. I almost do it.
yeah,
But
me
tea
too.
and coffee, yeah. So, yeah, and I lost a lot of weight. So, uh, number one is doable for me, and five, 1 hour of meditation. In fact, I would love to do that regularly. Um, but once I'm successful in one and five, then and four is no problem. So one, one, four,
Four and
five.
five.
Yeah, one, four, and five. And then if once I'm successful on these, then I can go and do three. Sometimes if you do all of them together, you do half of it, half job
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
and it's an odd number of days, so it's not a month, it's not a multiple of seven. So he said 25. So over to you. I mean, why don't you try it? Why don't you do one, three, and I mean 1, 4, and 5, and see how it goes. Uh, I think I mean, all of these practices, the spiritual practices which are done are with always a higher goal, because the mind is conditioned to obey an instruction in and that comes from obedience and so on, and you are a lot more conscious. And Baba also says that, right? When you're adhering to a protocol, the protocol makes you conscious, and being conscious in action and in all the deeds that we do during the course of the day is the key thing. So always taking up these little spiritual sadhanas will help us in one way or the other. But let's remember, these are not Baba's instructions for us today. So it's more our interest and our initiative to do this. So just as we are talking about it, I just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah, perfect, Karthik, what you said. And, even if you adopt one or many or some, it's actually indirect meditation, because if you adopt that, you got to be having only one meal a day and coffee only or tea only twice. So that means you have to train your mind to do that. So that also is an indirect form of meditation, where you are concentrating on doing something, is what I think personally.
So one is meditation, and all of them have a flavor of sacrifice in it, right? So
Oh
typically,
yes,
spiritual practices have some sort of sacrifice. So yeah, I mean, second condition is sacrifice, and obviously there is a break from normalcy, right?
oh yes,
Yeah, significant departure from normalcy. So these are all the typical things that masters give. And of
yes.
course, Baba is given very interesting stuff that
Oh
we have to
yes,
admit.
yes, absolutely. So we
S-
move away
Okay.
from the normal status quo and normal routines. Yes.
Yes, yes. So we can actually rotate reading at this point. If Mahu, you want to read for a bit and you're comfortable, you can
Yeah,
read
sure.
from, yeah,
Yes.
you can
Yeah.
read from Baba's followers. Yeah, thank you so much, Ashok ji, for reading.
Welcome, welcome, and thank you for the opportunity. Jai
Yeah,
Baba.
by the way, I wanted to update Mahu when we have paused. It's a good point to update her. So thank you for talking about Phyllis Frederick and during the course of the week. So by the way, I think I've mentioned to you, we are all on a WhatsApp group, not just the people who are usually on the call, but a lot more as well. We have created both a community as well as a group. So there we discussed your topic where you had mentioned about Phyllis Frederick on the concept of death. And then Kama actually fished out the video and shared it. And I saw it, and so did Kama. And we were very thankful to you to have brought that up. And now, obviously, it was a good way of knowing a little more about Phyllis as well. So I wanted to put it on record, Mahu. So wish you were part of the
Yeah,
group. You would
and
have seen it. Yeah.
yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for watching it. And the beauty of listening to Phyllis, she's a very good storyteller and
Yes.
also very relaxed voice. So you just flow with her as she
Yes.
talks. You just flow with her.
Yes.
Yeah, and so
Yes.
every one of these people played their role during this Advent.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Boba's followers were asked to think thoroughly about the orders and then inform Baba of their decision before February. One, they were to fill in the slip attached to the circular stating the number of the orders which they wished to observe and sign it. Oh, so Baba gave them a choice. They could do one.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
they
yeah.
could
So that
do.
was very clear.
Uh-huh.
So he said all his followers were given a choice of observing any one or more or all.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
So that was great. I'm
yeah,
glad that we discussed it that way. Okay. Yeah. So the Westerners received this circular in the last week of January, since there was little time those in America, England, Switzerland, France, and other countries informed Meher Baba of their decisions by cable. On the east coast of America, a group of stalwarts in New York was carrying Meher Baba's message to sincere seekers. On the West Coast, Malcolm Schloss and Gene Adriel in California had been instrumental in bringing earnest souls to Baba. The day Malcolm received the circular, he held a meeting. Coincidentally, Margaret Krask, one of Baba's dearest disciples, arrived in Los Angeles for a week's stay on detached service for a ballet theater. It was a happy get-together. Malcolm wrote a very promising report about the responses of the group. By the way, I may mention that Baba liked to read or hear Malcolm's letters, but this handwriting was so peculiar that one of the Mandeli had to go through it patiently and type it out for easy reading. Okay. Inquiries about observing the orders. Many people expressed their feelings of joy and gratitude for this Baba sent opportunity. One from the West wrote, "My heart rejoices that during these 25 days of February, I am to be a part of your great spiritual work. It's a privilege and honor to be included in this spiritual undertaking." Some expressed their heartfelt thanks to Baba for this unique participation in the divine discipline, collaborating with the Master in his work in however small a degree. Oh, that was related to Baba's work. There were inquiries regarding the meaning of the orders. One person asked,
Yeah, go
tea
ahead.
meant breakfast. Baba conveyed, tea means plain tea. That's all. Some wrote letters to Adi Senior requesting that Baba clarify the order about feeding the poor. Baba explained, "You have to feed one with your own hands, as a mother would feed her own child." Personally, I interpreted the order to mean serving food to the poor with my own hands. One of my friends felt that I was wrong in my interpretation, and in the first week of February, without my knowledge, he wrote a letter to Adi about the order. Adi brought the matter to Baba's notice. I received an unexpected postcard from Adi Senior with Baba's instruction to continue serving food to the poor as, okay, rolling up.
Yeah.
Okay, continue. Where am I? I'm
Yeah.
trying.
The first line. Continue serving
Okay.
food to the poor.
Yes, with Baba's instruction to continue serving food to the poor as you seem to have been doing. Replying to a letter of mine, Adi wrote, "Baba is too benign to mind seriously any shortcomings in us, provided we are prepared to obey him implicitly and wholeheartedly. Of course, we must try to get over the weaknesses, but on no account should we brood over them. I'm sorry.
Brutal.
On, yeah, should we brood over them? Baba allowed a few individual exceptions to the general rules. Ruth White from America wrote, "In our place, no, in our place, no one is hungry or without food." She sent tins of food, a soybean product reinforced with powdered vegetables and vitamins, to be fed to the poor in India. The tins were accepted, as that was the only way for Ruth to observe the mind order. Hmm.
No,
Try
no, no.
your best. Yeah. Now, the title is Try Your Best. The house where I stayed was quite small. I was trying to observe all the five orders, including that of a silence, so I preferred to pass most of my time on the enclosed veranda of my neighbor. Even there, a few distant acquaintances dropped dropped in to see me in my dumb state. It was a test to remain silent, but the humor of the situation brought in joy which my heart savored to the full. One of the boys who had stayed in Meher Ashram at Mehrabad from May 27 through 1929 wrote to Baba about his inability to observe any of the orders for the first few days. At that time, only letters regarding the orders were brought to Baba's notice. Ari Senior replied, "Baba read your letter and felt displeased. You, who have been connected with Baba since childhood, ought not to have treated the circular so lightly. But now, anyway, Baba is glad that you have realized your mistake." In a sense, Baba's love was very personal. Once he accepted anyone as his own, the sincerity of that person would please him, and any negligence would displease him. Baba often remarked, "Try your best and do not worry over the results." Regarding the fifth order
The
was which one?
meditation, an hour of
An
meditation.
hour meditation. Good, good. You remember. Regarding the fifth order, a few devotees asked if they could conveniently divide the hour of meditation into parts. Baba made it clear that it had to be done at a stretch. As for remaining celibate, one of my friends later related to me how sorry he felt for his wife failed to cooperate with him. Poor soul. Mhm. His wife
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
cooperate.
Baba. Karthik, can you
That's
underline
really bad.
or highlight that? Try your best and uh, don't
Yeah, yeah, sure.
worry over the results. I think that that's a very practical. Of course, you do it sincerely, but my view is that we must give it a effort. If we
Yeah,
give up.
agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, let's continue.
let's continue. Okay, poor soul.
Yeah, yeah. After that, yeah,
This is the
next
one
section.
that the wife didn't, yeah,
Yeah.
cooperate. So the title is first phase of the uh, tripart. What is this?
Tripartite,
Tripartite.
three parties, three parties. So
Uh-huh.
tripartite
Tripartite.
work.
Yeah. Okay. First phase of
Tripartite,
the
yeah.
yeah. First phase of the tripartite work. Meher Baba entered upon his tripartite spiritual work on January 18. That day, he started taking one meal a day and tea twice. And he continued this until February 25th, 1948, which is his birthday. The first part of the work was related to massed contacts. Baba had Ali Shah brought to Mirazad from Mirabad, and silent sittings with this unique fifth plane mast continued for 10 consecutive days. There was in him an appealing restlessness and poise peculiar to those in love with God. He received Baba's divine presence in the spirit of innocence, and it was a benediction in disguise for his intoxicated and dazed being. He would stop talking as abruptly as he had begun. He did not speak much, but he had an unspeakably soft voice, for the sweet glance of God had pierced his heart, thought, through and through. No wonder he has been the first in many phases of Baba's spiritual working. At at Mahabaleshwar, some months earlier, while standing before Meher Baba, Ali Shah mumbled, what is it? This is Hindi. Bolinj.
बोलेंगे 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 लेकिन कब बोलेंगे मालूम नहीं. And then it's
Aha,
translated.
very nice. He will speak. The translation is, he will speak. He will speak. But when he will speak is not known. The depth and profundity of Meher Baba's silence was and is beyond the understanding of the saints also. At Mirazad, Baba sat with Ali Shah daily for 3 hours each day. On January 27, Baba baited him and the next day sent him back to Merabad. A sannyasi or mendicant and a seeker were then brought from Pune. The sannyasi was sent back the next day. The seeker presented a pathetic figure. Baba shaved and bathed him. After the bath, he was given new clothes to wear and he looked a changed person. This seeker generally preferred to sit in the sun for most of the day. Baba sat alone with him for an hour in the morning and for a few minutes in the evening. On January 30th, a Muslim who appeared to roll the next page appeared to be mad was brought to Mirazad from Ahmednagar. After the regular procedure of shaving, bathing, and presenting new clothes, he was sent back to the city. The seeker was sent back to Pune on February 3rd. Ali Shah was brought again on the morning of the 4th. And with this contact, Baba completed that phase of his work with masks.
So he did uh, some work with a seeker, a mendicant, and of course with Alisha.
Yeah, three of
Uh,
them. Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Kumbh Mela, a
yeah, Kumbh
retrospect.
Mela.
Kumbh Mela, a retrospect. You know, Kumbh Mela, I learned about it in New Life book. Yeah,
Yeah,
these are common words, some common incidents, common stories, you know. Anyway,
yes, yes, yes.
so
Kumbh
the
Mela also is referred in Wayfarers, where Baba. I think that's what we are going to see now, this is the Ardha Kumbh Mela. The Kumbh Mela actually happens every 12 years, I think. I'm not sure. Uh,
Yeah.
and they have something every 6 years. But Baba met a lot of thousands, in fact, of people in that Kumbh Mela and offered a meal or some alms to them. So he
Wow.
made contact. He made contact during the must period with the people. I think that's the reference that we will see in this section. Please go ahead.
Okay, sure. All right. So, Kumbh Mela retrospect. That's the title. The second phase of Meher Baba's tripartite work was to contact sadhus at Allahabad. They had assembled there for the Ardha Kumbh Mela, which is fair. A few years previously, before Baba began his work with the masts, he had visited the Nilgiri hills in the south of India. While there, he casually remarked that he intended to contact about 7,000 sadhus in one day, which was a surprise to those who were with him. Later, he commenced his work of contacting masts. In 1941, the occasion of the Allahabad Mahakumbha Mela had provided an opportunity for the fulfillment of Baba's wish. The Kumbh Mela is connected with mhm, is connected where are right. Oh, yes. The Kumbh Mela is connected with the astronomic positions of the different signs of the zodiac in relation to the sun, and it also has some mythological background. This is the greatest fair held in India at Allahabad, Hardwar, Ujjain, and Nasik. Meher Baba decided to visit Allahabad the end of December 1941 for the purpose of contacting the 7,000 sadhus. At Allahabad, the main place of pilgrimage is at the confluence of two rivers, the Ganges and the Jumna. It is believed that the mystical Saraswati River also joins the flow. So it is called Triveni Sangam, which
Triveni
means,
Sangam. Triveni.
yeah, okay. Triveni Sangam means the confluence of the three. According to the Indian what is almanac, what does it mean? Indian
Almanac is
almanac.
almanac is basically a religious or an astrological calendar.
Oh, okay, very
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
All right. So, according to the Indian
yeah.
almanac, the day of the new moon in the month of Mach is the momentous occasion when when thousands of sadhus and pilgrims dip into the holy current during the stipulated time. This is believed to be beneficial spiritually. Baba reached Allahabad in the morning on December 29, 1941. First, he went around the Mela grounds that stretched for over 2 miles on the sands of the river banks. At sunset, he commenced the great work as he coincidentally encountered a sadhu whose beaming face failed to hide the exuberance of his heart. He was intently gazing at the setting sun, shouting with joy, Jap, Jap, means meditate, meditate. He had put on Indian clothes, and on his head was an old British sofa or hat. Pitch hat. Perhaps this combination was a symbol showing that Meher Baba's work of spiritual upliftment was intended for both East and West. Interesting. The second contact was a young, handsome person, completely naked, his body covered with sand and dust. This was a must. This was a must whose like the Mandeli had not seen before. His eyes looked alive with a joy, and he seemed absorbed in communion with God. But when from a distance of about 50 feet he saw Baba, the divine beloved, he began to dance gracefully, moving his hands. Suddenly there came over him a rushing emotion that engulfed his being, and he sat down. Baba quickly walked up to him and extended his hands. The Sadhu got up and gazed at Baba dumbly. Baba looked immensely pleased and embraced him most lovingly, unmindful of the dirty body of the Sadhu. Baba later remarked, just as the state of the soul's union with the Oversoul is beyond the realm of understanding, so also is the state of this perfect lover of God indescribable. After contacting over 300 sadhus, Baba returned to his residence. During the next day, from 6 in the morning until 9 at night, he completed the Herculean task of contacting 7,000 sadhus, as he had earlier indicated he would.
Yeah, so maybe we can rotate the
Sure.
reading, or you can continue if you want. But
No, no,
I just
that's a
wanted to
good idea to rotate. Sure.
okay, I wanted to draw attention to the fact that the book has been sequential on the accounts of what is happening. But please note that we did the five orders of Baba in 1947, and then the visit of Ivy Deuce was 1947. But now he's actually talking about an incident, which is what I was wondering because Wayfarers, in the middle of Wayfarers is when he does this. So this is much earlier. So this happened, the Ardha Kumbh visit and account that we are reading right now, or we read right now, is in 1941. So I just wanted to draw attention to that. Now we talk about the second visit to Kumbh Mela. So maybe I will read for some time. Star Meher Baba ki jai. Second visit to Kumbh Mela. Meher Baba left Mehrazad for Bombay on February 7, 1948. So now you're back to the sequence from where we left it before this section. So I'll continue. Meher Baba left Mehrazad for Bombay on February 7, 1948, with a few of the Mandali, where they boarded a train for Allahabad to contact a number of sadhus. It was the period of Ardha, half Kumbh Mela, and in honor of this periodic astronomic occurrence, hundreds of sadhus of different sects, sannyasis, bairagis, and some others, had collected and camped at different places over an area of 3 miles on the banks of the Ganges and the Jamuna. This was Baba's second visit during the Kumbh Mela. So 1941, the first time, and roughly about 6 years from that time, 1948, is the Ardha Kumbh Mela. I continue. At the touch of dawn on February 9th, Baba and the Mandali left their quarters for the Mela grounds. Over 1 million pilgrims and thousands of sadhus had flocked together. The different camps of the sadhus were known as akhadas. Some sadhus had matted and braided hair reaching right to their knees. Some had top knots, and some were clean shaven. Some, especially the mahants, the heads of the ashrams, wore rich and costly clothes, but most had plain white or ochre colored kafnis, and a few had no clothes at all. Some were short and plump, some tall and thin, some strong and hefty, and a few were lean and emaciated. Some had applied vermilion to their foreheads, while foreheads of others gleamed with different colored powders and pastes. Most of the Bairagis had ash daubed bodies. So, especially the ones that are naked apply ash, and there are certain sects in Indian, in India, where they even take ash that is from a burial ground, or rather, cemetery. So you apply that also. It's a way of saying that dust to dust, and even that is not something that is bad, right? So the tantra people actually apply that. I continue. Through different sects, the ancient Indian culture has provided a variety of traditions and rituals that aim to invoke real devotion to God. But the rituals, instead of making things easy, often make the heart hard and unreceptive. When followed blindly, the outward forms of the rituals are prone to invite deception. You can put flowers in a vase, but not the fragrance. Rituals of some kind seem necessary, but ritualism becomes a hindrance. In fact, one has to discover for oneself the way of life as a wakeful meditation, to make God one's constant companion, in spite of the kaleidoscopic pomp and show of different sects at the Kumbh Mela. There were some spiritually advanced souls and many spiritually minded persons assembled on this occasion. So it was a fair field for Meher Baba to give a spiritual push in that religious atmosphere. He also remarked that from the days of old, Allahabad has been known for its spiritual atmosphere. Next section is called Contacting Sadhus and Mas. Baba made a rapid survey of the Mela grounds that morning after reaching the main premises. The Mandali were acquainted with the location of different camps or akhadas. At Baba's discretion, he was taken to the entrance of the different camps. The Mandali stood at the gates, and Baba moved briskly in the soft sand to contact the sadhus. He had to bend down in quick succession to touch the feet of each, an ordeal for his delicate frame. Selection of sadhus was left to Baba's on the spot discretion. Some were moving around, some were squatting, some praying, others resting. Baba moved like lightning through the camps. Some of the sadhus were greatly impressed by Baba, for he carried some incredible power in his presence. But by the time the amazed sadhus regained their senses, Baba had gone far ahead, perhaps even out of sight. Within 3 hours, Baba had touched the feet of about 4,000 sadhus, and by 10 o'clock, he declared that his work at the Kumbh Mela was over. He also remarked that he felt happy to have contacted 7 really advanced souls among the sadhus. He looked fatigued, but soon felt fit and fresh as ever, and expressed a wish to contact some mas in the city. In Allahabad, Baba contacted 4 mas. Vishwanath was adept in closely imitating the sounds of the harmonium and tabla. This mimicry pleased Baba as much as it did the mast himself. Shah Sahib had a gypsy streak in his blood. He roamed about the city with a book under his arm and glasses well down his nose. The glasses were used neither for reading nor for better vision. It seemed that he was just fond of wearing them. Baba also contacted the naked Kamruddin Mast who loved dogs as pets. About each of these three musts, Baba remarked, a good must, a good contact. Sheikh Mardan smoked excessively and was a moderate must. He too was blessed with Baba's touch. Then, having completed the great work at Allahabad, Meher Baba left that same night for Bombay. The Great Musts of Bombay is the next section. En route to and returning from Allahabad on February 7th and 11th, Baba passed some hours in Bombay. He had, in fact, gone through this city a number of times, but these two short stays have a special significance. With his first group of Mandali, Baba had stayed at Dadar in Bombay at Manzile Meem from June 7, 1922 to March 25, 1923. During this period, he contacted some advanced souls in Bombay. Then there was a long break in this type of work, which was resumed by Baba after 25 years when he contacted some high musts there. In a way, it was a silver jubilee celebration of his stay at Manzile Meem. Baba reopened his must work on February 7, 1948 by visiting a unique God intoxicated family of seven sisters and two brothers, all of whom were born as Mas and Mastanis. The family lived in Mahim, a locality near the shrine of Makdum Shah. The eldest brother, who lived a normal enough life, was able to provide for and attend to the material needs of his wonderful brothers and sisters. The Mastanis never came out of the house but could manage to cook food and wash the clothes. One of the brothers had shut himself in a room and the food plates had to be pushed inside. Other, Ali Asgar, lived on the veranda. Formerly, he had been very aggressive and kept in chains. At the time of Baba's contact, he was quiet and he looked very filthy. He belonged to that holy band for whom even any filth was a thing of beauty. It can well be said that he was fond of filth, for if sweets were offered to him, he would not eat them unless they had been plastered with some sort of dirt. Baba visited the house and was with Ali Asgar for some minutes. Baba then motored to the southern part of Bombay, Kolaba, to see Pathan Baba. This must had a stately bearing, and with his long, white, flowing hair and beard, he was an impressive personality. His peculiarity was to anoint his hands and feet with a paste of flour and butter, and his choice of a seat was behind the municipal conservatory carts and just by the public urinals. How these souls could live in such reeking places for years, God alone knows. Pathan Baba was on the fifth plane, and Baba remarked that he was three-fourths Stalik like. Prior to this visit, Baidul had tried to take him to Mehrazad for Baba's contact, but Pathan Baba knowingly turned his sparkling eyes to Baidul and replied, I'm always with him, Meher Baba. Let him be here once. In fulfillment of this wish, Baba visited him twice on the same day.
Can you
Then,
believe that Baba, what situations Baba had to deal with? I mean, this mosque was a
yes,
complete filth and next to that, very strange location and all that. And Baba visited him two times.
yeah, and
Mm.
not just that. I mean, all the must contacts qualify on that count. What you said, which is a lot of uh, hard effort put by Baba to make a personal contact, and a lot of efforts put by Baba to please and, in fact, make these people happy. So. Whatever they wanted, Baba used to do. So obviously there is some deep significance there.
Yeah, and Baba said uh, the work is mutual. That means I
Yes,
work for them and they work for me. Yeah.
correct. Okay, let's continue. When they returned from Allahabad on February 11th, the Baba party arrived at Bombay early in the morning. It was a long, tiresome journey, but at the station itself, Baba expressed a wish to contact Umar Baba, a must of the sixth plane. He was in a complete Majzoob like state and resided in the old graveyard, Kabristan, on Grant Road. During the day, the must could be seen pacing to and fro like a restless tiger. When Baba reached the graveyard, it was still dark and Baidul had to wake the Mujawar attendant. From his wide experience, Baidul had learned that the attendants knew the ways to bring Mas into a good mood. Often, this way of approach had worked well to save time. Baidul asked the Mujawar to persuade Umar Baba to sit with Meher Baba for a secluded contact. Soon, the Mas drew himself up to his height, glanced at Baba, and agreed to the contact. The significant silent meeting with Umar Baba must have been very satisfying, for Baba looked extremely happy and seemed to radiate cheer all around as he came out. Baba then contacted three more musts in different localities of Bombay, and without having had a good rest, he immediately left by car for Mehrazad and arrived there before evening. Choice for the Mandali. In the early years, Meher Baba's birthday was privately celebrated according to the Zoroastrian calendar. Some Baba devotees used to inquire of the Mandali the date of Baba's birthday, which varied every year on the English calendar. In 1948, it was on February 13. When replying to the loving inquiries, Baba was pleased to add a line by way of a message: here, there, and everywhere, my love and blessings. Because the Baba house at Mehrazad was to be reconstructed by February 15, Baba and all the men and women Mandali left for a stay at Ahmednagar in Rustum, Rusi, Jahangir Irani's bungalow. Soon, one more bungalow adjacent to this house was hired. It was on the premises of an old ice factory. Baba broke his partial fast of 40 days on February 26th. While attending to correspondence, he dictated the following cable to Delia de Leon. If your coming to India in July is difficult, cancel coming. We will meet sometime, somewhere. Delia, however, managed to visit India in July with Jean Adrian. The great Indian leader and father of the Indian nation, Mahatma Gandhi, was assassinated at Delhi at 5:30 p.m. on January 30th, 1948. He had been on his way to the prayer ground at Birla House. According to the Hindu funeral rites, after the period of nationwide mourning, his ashes were immersed in the confluence of rivers at Allahabad, incidentally following Baba's sanctifying visit to that place. And newspapers published special articles on Gandhi's life and works. Gandhi first met Meher Baba in September 1931 on the steamer Rajputana. He was on his way to London to attend the Indian Round Table Conference. Baba always praised Gandhiji's sincerity and honesty in life. In February 1948, in an informal sitting with the Mandali, some articles on Gandhiji's life were brought to Baba's attention. He casually remarked, people regard Gandhi as a Mahatma. What do you take me to be? And do you wish to hold on to me till the very end? He also added, if any of you really feels confused or disappointed over my status, he would be rendering me a great service by leaving me. I want you to be honest to yourself and to me. I am what I am, what I really was and will ever be. So once and for all, think well before you decide. He instructed each of the Mandali to give him a written and signed reply. Okay. Baba is all in all. Some of the Mandali's replies to this choice are given below. Norina, in you I believe. For you I am ready to live and die. This is Norina's reply. Elizabeth, one thing I know, if you had not come into my life, there would have been no other master for me. Having come, there is no other way for me. Kitty, your love brought me to you, your love has kept me with you, and your love will bind me to you till the end. Rano, the one certainty in my life is you, beloved Meher Baba. I am yours and always will be yours. Kaka, happen what may, I will always stay with Baba, I say. Peram, W. Baba is Baba, the second one in capitals. So there is nothing to be said. Pendu, I know one thing that I have to serve Meher Baba. Padri, for me, Meher Baba is God. I am born to serve him. Vishnu, to me, Avatar means God. Meher Baba is God. Neelu, I do not doubt the avatarhood of Meher Baba. Sarosh, philosophy or spirituality is not my line. The only one to whom I bow down with an open heart as God is Baba. Jal, I shall stick to Meher Baba till the end. Meherdi, I have totally surrendered to you. I will never leave you. Nariman, beloved Baba, I had pledged to be yours and for you forever. Adi K. Meher Baba is the avatar. I am dedicated to him and will continue to serve him till the very end. Erach. For me, Baba as Baba in capital is all in all. It was this deep, unshakable conviction that Meher Baba evoked in the Mandali, which had helped them to lead the life of literal obedience to him as God in human form. Personally, I hold Gandhiji in high regard. His faith in God and his sacrifices for the country were matchless. His autobiography, Experiments with Truth, his utterances and explanations about the importance of remembering God and the significance of prayers in everyday life had influenced me to a considerable extent. When I heard the news of his assassination, I felt very ill at ease, for his violent and brutal death upset me considerably. I remember it was a Friday. In some way, I was reminded of the life of Abraham Lincoln. Coincidentally, just a day after this tragic event, I commenced observing silence as per Meher Baba's circular. Reading Baba's words of wisdom poured sunshine into the dark, confused chamber of my heart, and I felt much relieved. When one comes into contact with Meher Baba, one's love for the great personalities of the world slowly gets transformed in love for the God man, who is the one in all and who represents the divine life. So maybe we stop here, which
Yeah,
is page.
can you please read the last part one more time slowly? Where is it?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
One comes to Meher Baba. Where am
Yeah,
I?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Now, when one comes into contact with Meher Baba,
hmm,
one's love for the great personalities of the world slowly gets transformed in love for the God man,
hmm.
who is the one in all and who represents the divine life. So you may have
Very true. Hmm.
an association with somebody else, another master, another soul, and
Hmm.
that gets transmuted into the relationship with Baba. So here he's talking about Gandhi and the soft corner that
Yeah,
Bal Natu had for Gandhi,
for
and how,
Gandhi.
yeah, how it changed. Yeah.
And he's very honest, about his growth. I would
Hmm.
say his growth in Baba's love, Bal Natu. He's very honest,
Yes.
from the beginning all the way to. He was a sociable. He was a social man affiliated with political party, this, that. So of course, Gandhi is important for him. But
Absolutely.
then Baba transformed that to love for God man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mhm.
Great. So, on that note, let's wrap up. And we are right in the middle of Diwali weekend. So, happy Diwali again to everybody.
Yeah, happy
See,
Diwali.
Happy
yeah,
Diwali
thank
to
you.
Where
all.
are you, Kartik? Where are you? Home
I'm
or?
back in, yeah, I'm back in Dubai. I came overnight. I arrived a
Oh, how
few
can you
hours back.
live? Yeah. I mean,
No, no.
isn't it several days? Diwali is
Uh,
celebrated.
so it's 2 days.
Yeah,
So
two
when I
days.
did my research, the 2 days ended yesterday, but it
Hmm.
goes on. I mean, it's
Yeah,
usually, in fact, it's 4 5 days of,
yeah,
and depending on the culture, the state that you belong to. Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
I went for my diet. I've been recommended to eat fresh. Someone is recommended for me to eat fresh coconut every day.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
finally,